You! I found you! You thieving little Greg Duck!
I may have a problem. I seem to have developed a serious Baldur's Gate addiction. Maybe it's the space hamsters or the soothing ogre voice acting. But whatever the reason, the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Editions are now both out. My name is Haas, and this is a look at the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition and the Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition. For those that may not be aware, Baldur's Gate is a fantasy RPG developed by BioWare and released originally in 1998, later followed by Baldur's Gate 2, which released in 2000. They weren't just excellent games to wear the Dungeons & Dragons license, they were and remain simply one of the best RPG experiences to this very day. And now there are the Enhanced Editions, developed by Overhaul Games, with the Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition having been released only a little while ago in November. And with them being over a decade old, there's a good chance many people nowadays haven't played these games before. So, what made them so great in the first place? And more importantly, why care about these Enhanced Editions now?
I'm talking about the other pointy-eared one!
Let's start with the obvious. Baldur's Gate is clearly not from this generation. If simply the original release date somehow hasn't made this clear yet, then the games themselves will do so rapidly, and the Enhanced Editions will not change this fact. First of all though, the games are incredibly huge. Side quests are littered all across the world, and you'll always have a ton of things to do. Some of these quests might be small, sure, such as helping out a child ghost retrieve his teddy bear from his murderers, and others are vast storylines that branch off and lead to underground dungeons and other such mysteries. Regardless though, none of them are tedious. They are practically all entertaining with fantastic dialogue and story. The main story, on that note, itself is interesting and capable, but the great length comes from the various companions and other NPCs you'll constantly be running into, with around every corner a new task for you to do. This is then paired with an amazing sense of freedom and consequence. You can go around slaughtering whomever you want, but if you are playing a good aligned character, well, there will be consequences. Say you are a paladin having a very bad day at the monastery and may just decide to aim his rage at the innocent monks. I mean, go ahead, but you will be losing your abilities and turn into a fallen paladin. Similarly, party members will refuse to continue working with you, and in cases where your party is made up of both evil and good companions, they might just end up fighting to the death. In a similar fashion, you can avoid fights in clever ways, using mind control abilities you just so happen to have on you on those that would otherwise have to be killed. And there are pretty much always numerous ways to complete quests. The games simply have immense freedom, immense replay value, and they definitely react to the majority of your choices, making it highly immersive and making you feel like much more than a mere bystander, as you can see the change you brought quite literally. But it's not all sunshine. Baldur's Gate is old and feels old. There is a distinct lack of any form of handholding, and right now I mean this in a negative sense. In other words, the game is not even remotely user-friendly. From character creation to the final boss, figuring out where you need to go next can be a real challenge. Statistics and spells are poorly explained, and as this is one of the oldest D&D rule sets, it carries some obviously outdated mechanics with it. Clearly, if you don't think you have the patience for all of that, then this is not going to be for you, and the Enhanced Editions won't change this story. There is a small new tutorial in Baldur's Gate 1's Enhanced Edition, but this really explains very little, and is rather tedious to go through. If anything, the first few minutes of the actual campaign should tell you all of this very limited amount of information already, so chances are looking up manuals will be needed. Now, what do the actual Enhanced Editions specifically bring you extra? Besides everything I just mentioned, the games run on an improved version of the Infinity engine, and from my experience, they run well and have practically no bugs anymore, something that can of course be quite the hassle when trying to play these old classic games. Though, the pathfinding is still one big mess. The Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition comes with the original and its expansion, Tales of the Sword Coast, plus a whole new Black Pits arena adventure that is a competent campaign with solid writing and voice acting, but is mainly focused on combat and very little on story. The Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition, in turn, comes with well, of course, the original Baldur's Gate 2, plus the Throne of Baal expansion, and a similar new campaign, so creatively named The Black Pits 2. Then, all of the additions and improvements that Baldur's Gate 2 had are brought over to the Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition, meaning you can now use the classes, class kits, and whatnot that were added in Baldur's Gate 2 in the Baldur's Gate 1 Enhanced Edition, plus just a bunch of new ones. So if you now want to play as that half-orc blackguard, well, you finally can, you evil, evil monster.
Get out of my sight before I burn your eyes from their sockets!
One of the biggest additions, for me at least, are the new companions. Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition comes with 3 new companions. The Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition in turn comes with the same 3 new ones plus a 4th. Rassad the Monk, Nera the Wild Mage, and Dorn the Blackguard are available for the first, and a mysterious thief named Hexat enters for the second one. And frankly, they are fantastic. If you are playing this for the first time, you likely won't even realize that they are new, because they blend in really well with the rest of the characters and come with their own set of interesting quests and storylines, not to mention excellent voice acting and dialogue. They simply offer quite a bit of extra content and are great party members to have with you for the entirety of the game. Now, graphically, you may have noticed it is severely showing its over a decade-old age. They have added more up-to-date character portraits, resolution support, and you can now scale the user interface to a more favorable size, but as they do not give you a lot of options here, I simply found this to make the text far too small, which, as it turns out, can be an annoyance in a game where dialogue is, let's just say, more than prevalent. It looks like an old game, and when objects are literally hidden behind the 2D artwork, it becomes an issue. The severe lack of options will sometimes make you doubt the enhanced part a little, but contrasted to the original, it certainly has seen improvements and is a better experience. Have I mentioned yet that this game is hard? Like incredibly hard, like mental breakdown hard, at times. Save and pause often as you will be needing it. Getting used to the outdated combat system can take a little bit of time, but once you get into it, there's a good chance you'll actually really appreciate the difficulty. In the end, if you've already played the originals to death, and more specifically have dabbled in the numerous mods, then this might not be worth the money, save for it being a much more convenient experience with some clear enhancements and a good amount of extra content. Though that does certainly make it a great time to get back into it again. But, on the other hand, if you've never played Baldur's Gate, or at the very least, not that much, then this is something to definitely turn your attention to, as this is the best version you can pick up right now. No serious RPG fans should skip out on Baldur's Gate, and this certainly seems to be the version to play. Therefore, I can simply not recommend it enough. The Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 Enhanced Editions are fantastic ways for RPG fans to experience what are undoubtedly some of the best RPG games to this very day. If you're a big fan of modern RPGs, you will definitely notice its age, its brutal complexity when it comes to the gameplay that does no effort to help you, its outdated visuals, and, well, you do need to be fine with reading a ton of excellent text, but heaps of text regardless, as all the old content is sort of half-half when it comes to being voice acted or not. If you are fine with all of that though, and I hope you are, then these should really be picked up by anyone looking for an amazing RPG experience. Lastly, do start with Baldur's Gate 1. Although I think Baldur's Gate 2 is a slightly superior game, it directly follows the Baldur's Gate 1 story, and from the get-go, puts you in a much higher level state, with no room for introductions, thus, starting with Baldur's Gate 2 is likely confusing if anything. Plus, looking at all the changes, Baldur's Gate 1's Enhanced Edition has gained more improvements and additions than its sequel. Now that they do have virtually all the same systems in the Enhanced Editions though, they are a great back-to-back experience that again, I simply can't recommend enough. Hopefully that should inform you about what you can expect from the Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition and Baldur's Gate 2 Enhanced Edition. My name has been Haas, and if you don't mind, I do believe this beholder was looking at me funny, so I'm off to play some more.